brave hearts. As you can see, it's pretty full here, and the reception's not so good in the airport. I'm in a stop airport, and as you can see, there's a person wearing a mask there, and then we've got a couple people wearing a mask over here. So I would say probably, I'd say maybe 3% of the population is still wearing masks. And the reality is this, you know, they probably feel that they're the only ones left that are smart. And the reality is that your subconscious beliefs are going to decide, they're going to make and shape your life. They're going to make all your decisions, because we're only in the conscious moment. What? Let me think here. 2 to 5%, and the majority of the population are only in the conscious moment, 2%. I want to show you something. Do you remember when smoking would exercise the lungs? Well, now take a look. Smoking kills. Look at this, and it's not on one, it's on every cigarette pack. Now, whether you believe this or not, at the very beginning when they brought smoking out, okay, smoking wasn't bad for you. If you were smoking like pure tobacco or organic tobacco, chances are you'll never have cancer. You might cough up some phlegm, but you have to understand there's over 130 chemicals, okay, and they're all deadly chemicals that are in cigarettes. So the reality is this whole thing, I mean, they rule us, they school us, they fool us, and you have to understand that it's never going to end on this planet. So this is the great thing, eh? So smoking kills today, and when I was young, doctors would come on and say that smoking exercises the lungs. Now, these are medical doctors. There's no time in history that you saw a natural health doctor saying that smoking exercises the lungs. Medical doctors are the most programmed doctors on this planet, because they're actually not doctors. They're physicians and surgeons. And the reality is if you go to the AMA website, they're called physician and surgeons because they're not really doctors, because they're not into health. Think about this. Out of this population here, 99.9% of them will only use a medical doctor for their health. So the reality is all of these people are on a subconscious, unconscious level drug addicts. Now, believe it or not, 90% of the food that used to exist 90 years ago does not exist. 90% of the food that exists today never existed 90 years ago. And 90% of all the diseases never existed. Now, let's go back to the smoking. Back then, they would stand there and go, no, it doesn't cause cancer, it doesn't cause any problems, emphysema, no, it's not, no problem. What they realized as everybody gets a little more on their game is that when you sell cigarettes now and you go smoking kills not just you but everyone else, guess what? You see how everything is a motivation of guilt? My God, even families will use love to guilt each other to get what they want. So in our society, we use guilt as well. So you're addicted to the cigarettes, just like cocaine or just like any other thing like sugar. You can't get off of it, so you're going to smoke it. So as you're smoking every cigarette, you know that if you were to actually smoke the cigarette and say, this will heal me. No, look at it. Honestly, it's whatever you attach to the cigarette. If you say that this is another nail in my coffin, this is going to cause me cancer someday, you know, the reality is it's going to. Now, here's the thing. I can remember when I started smoking, and I was around 17, 18 years old. We had moved to Halifax, Nova Scotia. I didn't have any friends. There was a whole bunch of kids down on the corner, and the first 3 or 4 times I rejected it because everybody wants love. Then I had a puff, then I had a few more puffs, then I had a cigarette. It gave me a sore throat, gave me a headache, because I was told that even by that time that it causes cancer or that can cause problems. But don't worry, but after I've smoked after 2 or 3 packs, I don't remember ever having a headache or a sore throat. And even when I had a cold or a flu, it never caused a cold or a flu because I'd been smoking for so long. So if I get a cold or a flu, if I get a cold or a flu, and I've been smoking like for a few years, it's not because of the smoking. Meanwhile, everybody, you know, these people that are wearing masks, you know, they want to protect themselves from a virus. And understand something. A virus, okay, is like trying to stop the smallest molecule from coming through a mask, and it doesn't work. And the reality is that viruses aren't alive. They're not alive. They can't jump. Well, maybe you probably taught yours how to jump, or you believe that, which you have one great imagination. Because a virus is a solvent, is a chemical, and that actually goes in to dissolve man-made chemicals. Now, why am I saying this? Well, because right here, okay, I want to show you something. Right here, okay, in these cigarettes, okay, we've got over 130 chemicals that could kill you. Together, they do a hell of a great job. Now, understand this. As you build up the toxic chemicals, these are man-made chemicals now. We're talking about man-made, not just not organic. So all man-made chemicals like GMOs, glyphosate, any chemicals from all these processed foods, which is 90% of the food that people eat. That's why 90% of the population has an autoimmune disease and is dying right now. And I said dying. Well, you have to understand something. The government is killing us, right? And that's their job, right? There's a government inside of a government. Let's get back to our story. So anyway, so now you're taking in all these man-made processed plastic foods, and they're all full of chemicals. So the reality is as those chemicals build up in you and then there's a change of season, that's when we kick in the flu, which is natural. Getting the flu is natural for someone who isn't emotionally balanced and is taking in a lot of toxics. Now, understand, your body, like parasites, fungus, bad bacteria, they can take care of organic chemicals and they can clean up a rotten mess inside of you. And that's why we have all these parasites. You only have parasites because your inner terrain is low vibrational and your thoughts and programs are low vibrational, but you don't know that because most people are low vibrational, and you're probably going to think I mean that in a bad way. I don't. Everybody's beautiful. Everybody has a spirit, but your beliefs make and shape your life. So anyways, so now we're taking in all of these man-made processed foods that are heavy metals and have lots of chemicals, and then we got the cigarettes, and then we got all the other stuff here. Well, basically, everything in this store, okay? So everything in this bloody store, the liquor, everything. Everything is poisoned to knock, oh, I mean, look at this. Perfumes, they're poisons too, okay? So all the liquor is poisoned, so you can pretty well go into 99 out of 100 stores and everything in there is no good for you. There's nothing good for you in here. So you can program a human being to basically wear anything, drink anything, eat anything. So now all these chemicals come in, and then what happens is because I told you your parasites and your bacteria and your fungus can't eat this stuff because they'll die, just like you're dying from all these man-made heavy metals and chemicals. So there are 300 solvents, okay? There are 300 solvents approximately in the human body that are actually made by the human body. And isn't that something that we can adapt? It can these are made to go in and loosen up heavy metals and chemicals out of our cells. If it didn't do that, your oxygen levels would drop, you become acidic, and you become cancerous, and you know the rest of the story. You'd have the infection. The infection goes to inflammation, and then from there we go to mutation, and then, holy shit, then we die, right? Isn't that what they say? If cancer is a death sentence, well, it isn't. It's just stage 4 inflammation, and we know how to take care of that, and I'm not allowed to say that, but I don't really care. I'm going to anyway. So the reality is now your cells are getting full of heavy metals and chemicals. So the viruses come in, which are solvents and soaps. They're natural solvent and soap made by the body. They go in and loosen up all this waste. And so now if we loosen up the waste, how do we get it out of the body? Well, we got to drip it out. So it's going to drip out your vagina, your nose. You're going to cough it up, or it's going to come out your ears as a liquid. And that's what we call the flu. That's why I don't get the flu. Okay? And you're going to get the flu because of the things that you eat, drink, and do. Okay? And so every change of season, people get the flu, or you'll get the flu as often as you need to try to prevent life-threatening diseases. And when you get the flu, you feel like it's a life-threatening disease because your cells have to contract, your organs have to contract, and if the body's made out of cells and they go into contraction, that spasm, that can cause pain, right? And then I know you don't like pain, right? You don't like pain, so what you do is you take painkillers. But if you do that, you are a bit of a moron. You have moronic beliefs if you take a painkiller. I get it. I've taken I used to take migraine pills because I couldn't control my emotions or my stress. So the reality, if I didn't take them, then I don't know, maybe I would have blown my head off. I'm not really sure. But the reality is that when you take a painkiller, you're killing your body. Okay? When you go to kill cancer, you're killing your body. When you go to kill any type of symptom in your body, because your symptoms are actually your body saying, when can you love me? When can we have a beautiful relationship? When can you bring in high vibrational thoughts, food, drink, and hang around with high vibrational people? That's right, because you are the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most. How's that looking? And then I'm going to say, what do you do with your spare time? Do you have bad habits? Oh, yes, you do. And this is why this brings me to something else. Okay? God love all the people that come to me, and we have had, and I do mean this, we had a few thousand come to us in Mexico from all over the world to the Ixtapa Palace. And I am not going back to the Ixtapa Palace. They're closing it down. Last night, the containers left. They're going to be packing up everything in the next 2 weeks. The palace will close. We will open up a new clinic, and in that clinic, this is where some people are going to like me and some people are going to dislike me, but I'm really getting used to being disliked, because understand something, unless you fit in with the herd and you fit in with the majority, if you're totally different and you're telling people that they can heal from anything, if you're telling people that they can be abundant on all levels, financially, emotionally, physically, they don't like that, okay? Because everybody believes that these things are out of our control, that, you know, that human beings are limited down here. Well, we're only limited by our beliefs. But I'm not going to be limited by my beliefs, because we are not going to have people that come to us anymore that are smokers, alcoholics, drug addicts, whether it's prescription or it's street. Now, if you come to us and let's say you're on 1 or 2 drugs, yes. If you're taking more than 1 or 2 drugs, I will not take you on as a client, patient. If you have an alcohol problem, I won't. And the reality is that we can't come up against addictions and then have you not say it didn't work, and then Dr. Wolfe ripped you off again. And the chances are that if you're a smoker and a drinker, you're already trying to kill yourself. I don't want to be responsible for the guy that killed you. And the reality is this, Marketplace did a show on me. They're saying that all these things. You know what? The reality is I don't care what people think, because most people don't think. Do you think that most of the people in this room right now or in this world have critical thinking? Because if we had critical thinking, we'd understand that there's a government inside of a government. We'd understand the medical care is not health care. We'd understand that 90% of the food that people eat is not food. We'd understand that, we'd understand this. Okay? So the reality is this. You see that poor woman? And I mean that poor woman in the way that she has poor thoughts. She's not well, but then either is most people. I mean, I'm going to tell you something right now. I've been kind of just walking around, and this is not a judgment thing. It's an observation thing. There's not many of us slim people left, okay? And I will tell you this, that in another 20 years, there will be maybe about 2% of the population will be at the regular weight, and 98% of the population will be overweight and obese, because there is no critical thinking left. If I take a look and walk around here, or walk around a mall, or I walk inside of a grocery store, or even a health food store, it's all full of junk food now. It's not hard to program a human being to become a human doing, and then get them to do whatever you want them to do. A lot of people think that, I guess, you know, that I'm a little bit cocky, but the reality is the truth pisses most people off. And the reality is I get it, because we're emotional beings and we get very addicted to things, and we can't break those addictions. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Unless you're going to buy into self-love and self-care, and I tell people, you know, unless you're going to come to like a Braveheart Health and Healing Circle, or you're going to go to a whole life coach certification, or you're going to go and drink the Kool-Aid of self-love and self-care, you're out of here. You're out of here. Oh yeah, you think you can get away with this? You think that you can go to dinner and eat what the average person eats? And then the other thing, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'll have people coming to me with chronic illnesses. Now, do you know what a chronic illness is? All it is a symptom that you couldn't find a practitioner tell you how to get rid of that symptom, because your body was saying, I love you, can you please love me back? So you went to a practitioner and actually believed that it was a physical problem. It was an emotional one. You don't love yourself, for God's sakes. That's it. Understand that. All illnesses, all diseases, I can prove it. It all has an emotional attachment. I can prove it within the first 20 minutes of talking to you. So the reality is this, is that these are all symptoms, and they start off really light, and then because you don't get the right therapy, because you don't even know how to look after yourself, don't know how to look after your children, don't know how to look after your husband or your wife, and, you know, tell me about it, okay? So when you got married, did you know how to eat? Did you really know how to eat healthy? You probably don't even right now. I mean, I don't know. Between me and you, I'd be dead right now if I wasn't a health practitioner. Okay, think about this. The first whole life coach certification I did was 28. And this year alone, I'm doing 12. Okay? And I'm doing 14 Braveheart circles. I mean, that's the only way that I can keep my act together, because guess what? Believe it or not, all these beautiful spirits here, they are beautiful spirits having a physical experience, okay? Most of them, okay? If you were to go back 40 years ago, did you know that 40 years ago, 10 pounds overweight was obesity. Now it's 40 pounds overweight. So we're going to, you know, you have to understand this. Remember, I want to show you something. Come on over here. You need to listen to this, or you don't, okay? Okay, you see these guys here? Well, guess what? These guys here that make this product here, guess what? They own every food corporation in the world. Every food corporation in the world, major food corporation, Nabisco, I don't want to go through all the names, is owned by the tobacco industry. Oh, let me see now. Oh my God, they have our best interest at heart. New and improve this, new and improve that. You know, they can put in heavy metals, so much heavy metals in food. They can put plastic in food. They can put glyphosate in the food. They can put GMOs in the food. Let me tell you something. The party has begun, and they're getting it done. And I'll tell you what they're going to get done. You know, you probably won't believe me, but I'd say on the low side, 40% of the population will not exist by 2030. I'd say I'm probably hitting about 60%, okay? Because most people do not even know what health is. They've walked away from nature. They've walked away from God. Oh yeah, they have all these rules and beliefs of judgment. They judge themselves. They judge each other. And I'm telling you, you may think that I'm judging everyone here, but I will help anyone and everyone, because I know that when I pass from this planet, we will all go back to that same energy, whatever that is, and I don't have a clue. And somebody say, well, he's pretty stupid. He doesn't know who God is. Well, I think people are pretty dumb if they think they know what God is, because it's beyond love. It's beyond any energy source. It created the whole universe, but somebody that became a spirit being became a physical being. You're going to tell me that I have the capacity to be able to nail what really is going on? I'm just trying to nail what's going on in my own life, okay? So I've decided. Now I just decided, and that's it. I closed this place down, and I'm going on a tour for 8 months, and a world tour, and I'm doing free lectures around the world, and not free trainings, but the most powerful trainings in the world, and I can prove it. And when I get done, I will be opening up a clinic where people will be coming for personal treatment and trainings, couples, singles, caretakers, groups, and we'll be doing all the trainings that we're doing now. And patients will not be coming to my clinic, okay, unless they're approved. I already told you why. Can't smoke, because guess what? I'm not a quit smoking clinic. Do you know, in the last year of opening up the Stop World Healing and Training Center, I told you we had a few thousand people come. I could have kept just doing this, and it would have been great. But the reality is, I'm a fraud. Yeah, I am. I'm a fraud. And I'm going to make sure that nobody is going to be ever going to be able to blame their healing or their sickness on me. The reality is this. Smokers come to get well, but they don't quit smoking. Alcoholics come to get well, but they don't quit drinking. Sugar junkies come to get well, but they don't quit. Anybody with an addiction, when they come to get well, they can't stop their addiction. You will never be able to stop your addiction until you stop judging others, judging yourself, until you get a new religion or a new belief system that you are not a sinner, not a failure, and that you're off the hook, and that this moment is the first moment of your life, and that you get to make up the rules, and not the rules of these fools or these religions or these people that want to own you and control you. And don't tell me that people don't want to own and control each other. You know, parents want to control their kids, and I don't want to control my kids. Husbands want to control their wives. I don't want to control my partner. I never did. I want her to rise to her greatness. I want her to stand up for herself. I want her to challenge me when I'm disrespecting her or even myself. That's what I want. And I don't know what you want, but the reality is this whole thing here is we're all a bunch of beautiful spirit people coming down into a physical body. And guess what? Everybody that is in charge, right, from government to our food corporations to the dental association to the medical association are trying to kill us. And I don't care what you say, whether you like me or you don't, but if you can't wrap your head around that, then guess what? There's no hope for you anyway. Oh, but I love my doctor. Yeah, but he's still a drug dealer. I love my doctor. Yeah, but he still takes a knife to you and cuts out things that didn't need to be cut out, because that's all he does. He's a cutter. You know, I'm not a cutter. I'm not going to go cut something out. I say, why do something that's life-threatening when you can do something called self-love and self-care? Give that a shot. And if your life is not being threatened and you haven't got days or weeks to live, then why are you giving it over to someone that is not changed in health, not trained in health, not trained in love? No. It's called self-love and self-care, and it's really called health. I am going to open up another clinic, and it's going to rock. Our success is going to be higher than any success that is around the world. And you can say I'm cocky, I don't really care, I was created by God Almighty.